The SIG MCX is a modern rifle with a design that can be justifiably called next gen. It features a redesigned recoil system that allows for the doing away of the buffer tube, hypermodularity so it fits your mission, and of course ease of use because it's AR patterned. That's great and all, you might say, but that's all on the real gun and we know that's a winner. But what about airsoft? For those of you who didn't know, there was a previous version of the MCX that released some time ago under Cybergun, and that is the legacy model. This follows SIG's footsteps of the M17 and M18, which were hugely successful and wildly popular. So if these guns are any indication, then I'm pretty excited for this MCX Virtus. The MCX Virtus sure looks the part of a next-gen rifle, but does it act the part of a next-gen rifle? Because there already is one. Well, it's the H&K416. It seems to be the king of the hill or go-to special operator rifle that you see all over the world nowadays. Now, we reviewed an H&K416 AEG before. If you want to check out that video, you can pause this, click the card above, or find it in the description below. With that said, for those of you that already have a 416, is the MCX worthy to add into your existing collection? Or if you're in the market to buy a 416, well, let's see how the MCX stacks up. Maybe it'll change your mind, maybe it won't. The MCX Virtus is one of the newest guns on the block, coming out only in 2017. But for a rifle that's so young, it's made some pretty big splashes to put it in the main view of the public's eye, and probably the biggest splash would be its featuring in the recent Call of Duty Modern Warfare video game. Video games aside, in the real world, it's been a recent popular choice of special forces operators and some counterterrorism units around the world, with its legacy model most notably used by British CTFSO Counterterrorism Task Force. In hand, the rifle feels instantly familiar because after all, it is an AR patterned rifle. All the controls are exactly where you'd expect them to be. Magazine release, selector. Everything is also ambidextrous, making this very friendly for left and right-handed shooters. While we're on the topic of the stock is pretty cool because you can remove it and expose a Picatinny rail section right here. And you can mount on adapters that allow you to adapt other stocks that you may prefer over this telescoping style stock. Now, a really cool idea that SIG did when they brought the MCX Virtus in-house under the SIG AIR brand is because this can actually work with all of the other SIG real steel accessories such as hand guards, foregrips, sights, as well as the real steel MCX stock. So if you're living stateside, congratulations, fun times ahead. If you're living outside of stateside, well, fingers crossed that accessory makers will make different styles of stocks for you to dress it up how you like. Build quality is superb on this gun. Very solid. There's no wobble. The only wobbling you'll hear is this large hook for you to clip your slings onto. And while we're, once again, talking about the stock, you can deploy it by depressing the button and it comes right out. Very smooth, but there is one thing. I'm not a fan of this style stock. I don't like the wire and it just don't like it. But it does shoulder well, and you can still get a good cheek on this rifle. I guess it does the job. Sling mounts, as I previously mentioned, there's this large mount here for you to clip your slings onto, but there's also QD mounts right here on the stock, low receiver, and handguard. So kind of sling mounts everywhere for you to mount regular slings or QD slings. Internally, it runs VFC's VR16 system, so I think it's going to be very stable and just a workhorse of a gun. Not to mention is version 2, so if you need to upgrade certain parts, well, that's your gearbox. So for those of you familiar with the legacy version of the MCX, the Virtus also has a quick change spring system where you just remove the buttstock and you pull the spring out very simply. There's a guide right up there. All right, so this is the part where probably you guys have been waiting for, where we're going to compare the MCX to the 416. Well, but not this 416, but this 416. This is the H&K416A5, the latest and greatest version of the 416 that you can get your hands on. Well, as an airsoft gun, of course. All right. Let me get the obvious out of the way. They both are AR patterned rifles, so they feel and shoulder very nicely. But I do have to say, I have complained and complained and complained some more about the old HK style stock that kind of looks like an elephant's foot. But I have to say, The current one you see here, it's sleek, it's modern, it's nice and compact. I like it. Point goes to the HK. The MCX already looks noticeably lighter than the HK416. So let's take a look. Here's the MCX in grams, and that's in pounds, almost 6.5 pounds. Now the 416 is already heavier in the grams. Pound-wise, it is almost 7 pounds. Being inherently heavier, the 416 also has a slight front bias, which means it's going to be a little bit heavier up front. The reason for this is on the MCX, it is a skeletonized, lightweight, thin M-LOK rail. On the 416, it still uses traditional quad rails, so that's where a lot of the weight is going to be. Though there is some merit to this, yes, you don't have to rebuy all of your accessories, you mount basically plug and play. This one, you may need to get ones that, are M-LOK compatible or have Picatinny slots that you buy on it to mount different accessories. However, over extended periods of play with the 416, you're going to get a little bit of fatigue on your support arm. Trust me, I've used the 416 for a long time. That's the one. Another difference that we want to talk about is battery compartment. For the battery compartment on the 416, it's going to be right here in the buffer tube, and it's going to facilitate a wider range of battery options for you, whether it's Titan batteries or if you want to stick with LiPo batteries. However, with the MCX, because the battery compartment is right here in the handguard, you're gonna have maybe a little bit of problem finding a small enough or thin enough battery that fits in, like this. You remove the handguard, and it has to fit on the bottom side here. And it uses this Tamiya style connector. So my recommendation for you would be long stick type batteries like what we'd see used for the AK platform. Now, Gambit did a really cool Gambit's guide for the legacy version of the MCX where we talked about batteries. You may learn a few things. Now, let's talk about looks. Okay, I hear you. However, we can take an objective look at these two guns. And I would say, let's look at the 416 first. That's a beautiful looking gun. However, for a gun that was touted to be a next gen or the next leap forward for the AR platform, it looks pretty current gen. Think about the guns that was in its same class. The ACR, the SCAR. These are very next gen looking guns. The 416 just looks like another AR. But if you look at the MCX, it kind of has all of the trappings of what a next-gen rifle would be. It's got no more buffer tube. It's got this slim, sleek forend. The lines look beautiful. And of course, hate it or love it, this retractable stock adds a lot of character in it. So point, MCX, hands down. Now before we go to our favorite gun range 0, let's play our favorite game, Find the Hop-Up. So I'm gonna remove the magazine. Here's a little tidbit about the MCX. The charging handle is ambidextrous, so you can pull either side to reveal the hop-up, which is located right here. So pull it back, right there for more or less hop. There's a little cover to cover the hop-up. You can also release it by pressing the bolt release. So here we are at gun range 0, and I'm about to shoot the MCX. Now, I have it set up just like I did the legacy version. So I'm running the 7.4 in this thing because, boys and girls, getting that battery in this handguard was a bit of a challenge. But we're gonna see how responsive she feels. I'm gonna do this just like I did the last one. Oh yeah, that feels good. Let's take a couple of shots, see how she feels. The gun is very snappy, even on a 7.4, and the trigger feeling is very direct. Feels just like any other AEG. Now, while we're talking about the gun, it actually is compatible with other standard AEG magazines. So you can plug that in there and it's plug and play. The magazine that it comes with is, well, this metal Stanag. But of course you can use these polymer magazines. This one is, well, we won't talk about this one. Get back to shooting. You know, the gun points and shoots very naturally. And even though I may not like the design or this type of stock, I can still manage to cheek the rifle fairly easily. Now, what's really nice about this stock, just like the old one on the Legacy, is the ends are captured. So when you pull this thing out using the push button, you don't have to worry about the whole thing falling out like some other ones do. So you can quickly deploy it like that and get it right in the fight. I think that's really nice. Now let's load her up again, talk about some accuracy, and we'll finish off with some full auto. So I got the MCX on a tripod. I got the target down range. I'm ready to go. I'm feeling good. Let's see how accurate she is. I like that the trigger has a reset. Getting into this thing, I have to say, pretty dang consistent. Even some of the loosey-goosey ones down here didn't stray too far away from the center. I mean, I expect no less. Something with such quality. Okay, there's a flyer down here, I admit. Probably me, but still, one flyer down here. But even the strays are right within this center mass. I'm very impressed. Full auto mag dump, let's go. So for the mag dump portion, I wanted to show you guys this. Now, I was able to run the wire outside to a PEC box style battery. Now, this is an 11.1, and we figured, what the heck? Let's see how fast we can push it. I'm using a 7.4 LiPo and 0.2 gram BBs. The MCX, what a killer. Just like the Legacy version. If you want to learn more, click on the card above or in the description below to watch that video. SIG has been out here just straight eating H&K's lunch. No matter if it's their pistols or their rifles, fit and finish, they're right there. So much so that their modularity and how they look and how they feel is now starting to shift the conversation to SIG is fast becoming a go-to rifle for shooters and operators and law enforcement and military personnel around the world, kind of like the next big thing. Now for airsoft. Well, there was never any doubt and no denying that VFC AEG internals is gonna make this gun perform well. But I think what is unique about this gun that would set it above even the H&K we just previously saw is that this gun is coming directly from a real gun manufacturer. Think about the Chris Vector and the Crytek line from the Chris Group. This is a real gun company that is now investing in the airsoft space. And to see SIG, a big name like SIG, bring in their airsoft under their own company, seeing how they've done so well with their pistols, with their SIG Air line, I am so thrilled and excited to see what is the future for these guys. And to see the seriousness that real gun companies are putting into airsoft to make this like legitimate training tools for us that maybe live in a place where we can't use real firearms or if ammunition's super expensive. And while yes, I think the stock is not my cup of tea, and the battery compartment is small, at the end of the day, it's going to be inevitable that you're going to have airsoft parts manufacturers and accessory makers make really cool stocks or really nice handguards to truly turn this gun into something that is yours or mine. But hey, what do you guys think? You think real gun companies jumping into the airsoft space is a cool thing and something we should expect more in the future? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Now guys, if you liked this video, give us a like. If you thought it was cool, share with your friends. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe and click the notification bell for all new videos coming out. If you want cool products like this and many more, don't forget to check out our online store at www.redwolfairsoft.com. Guys, until the next episode, I'll catch y'all later.